Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. If this is your first time, please do subscribe. And if you've been part of this family for a great time, you can continue sharing, commenting, and liking our channel. And as you know, we have a lot to offer you and we have a lot of information to share with you. So today we have a new guest with us and she'll be telling us about how to go about getting a full PhD scholarship and assistantship in the United States, particularly in computer science this time around. And she'll be sharing with us also her experience with someone who is in art and design. So we have two in one for you today. So I'll leave it to our guest today to do a brief justice to our personal self so that I won't miss any bit of any information about her. So over to you, Ma.
Hi, thanks, Benson. My name is Abiola. I'm a PhD candidate at Kansas State University. I'm studying computer science. So a little to my background, I went to Olabisi Onabanjo University, where I studied computer engineering for my bachelor's. After that, I worked a little as a network engineer for about 9 months. Then I went back to school for my master's. I went to UI. I did a master's in computer science. Then after that, I worked again as an IT specialist network all together for a little less than 2 years before I came to the US for school. So this summer, I'm working as a software engineer with PayPal. I work with the data platforms team. Um, Basically because my research is involved in data analytics, data science, and machine learning. So that kind of sums it up about my background and school and all of that. Yes.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Abiola Osho. Thank you for the brief introduction. So now a lot of people have this myth that if you don't have money, you cannot school abroad, you cannot go to a top school, you cannot go to a big school outside of your country, outside of your home country. And so we are trying to educate and enlighten a lot of people that there are a lot of opportunities out there if you are able to find them and able to apply and have the direct and nice information, correct information about those programs, you'll be able to apply and get fully funded for that particular program. So that was what brought about this idea of, okay, talking with people from different programs and then sharing their experiences about their application process from the onset, how they start looking for school, because people have this myth that it's only for first class, it's only for brilliant people, that if I'm not first class, if I'm not brilliant, there is no way I can get fully funded scholarship in US or anywhere in the world. So that is why we we are here today. So I want you to enlighten us on how you went about your program, your application processes from beginning onset till the time you got the application process. If it was so very easy for you to get, and if it was complicated, we want to know so as to encourage people that are coming behind.
Okay. So there are some things I would like to point out. First of all, nothing good comes easy. You have to put in the work. The second thing I would like to bust is if you want to pursue a PhD, I need people to understand that it is a big commitment. You are going to invest maybe 4 to 5 years or more of your life into it. And another thing I want to point out is if you plan to study in the US for a PhD, you don't need to have a master's degree. And for programs like computer science and a couple of other programs, I think it's actually better if you don't have a master's degree. And this is why I'm saying that. So in the US, PhD or graduate school is always like very cost heavy. You have to take courses and all of that. Even if you have a master's degree, they can only waive as many credit hours for you. So you still have to take courses, you still have requirements and all of that. So you realize that you still end up getting to spend almost as much time as if you don't have a master's degree. So that's one thing, because a lot of times people ask me, oh, I want to apply to a PhD program and I don't have a master's. You don't really need to. But there are some courses that I know of, like geography and geology and all those places. You need to first complete a master's degree. So you need to confirm what it's like in the program. But I would say that most computer science programs don't need you to have a master's degree. So as regards application, information is power. So for me, I can't really remember what I was reading about on Nairaland one day when I came across this GRE thread. I would not lie, hands down, that thread was really it was very informative. It was really, really good. Like, if I keep telling people, I share the link to the thread to people all the time. Benson, if you don't have it, I can share it with you so that I can post it. If you are able to read maybe like the first 70 pages of that thread, I bet you would get all the information you need to apply. So for computer science degree, 90% of the programs would require you to write a GRE. Some programs will tell you they don't need a GRE, but I always advise you to go for a GRE. And the reason is that the GRE is like a level playing ground for them to like weigh your abilities against your counterparts that are schooled from the other end of the world. Because even in Nigeria, take UI for instance, UI has a 7 point grading system, and every other person has a 5 point grading system. So if I say I had a 6.9 from UI and you have a 3.5 from another school, you can't just off the top of your head like know that, oh, this person and this person are about the same. Plus, you might do very well in programming courses and have maybe like a really top grade, and another person might do very well in maybe like general knowledge and have top grade, and you guys are applying to the same program. How do we like measure your abilities? So GRE is very good. Another thing I would advise is, if you're going for computer science and you're taking your GRE, I would advise that in the quantitative part, you aim to score at least a 160. And the reason is, even though schools and departments have these very low scores online, most programs that I know would rather have you have like a minimum of 160, because there are other people from Asia that are acing the GRE like crazy. And most of the time they use the GRE scores to sift people out first. So maybe they get like 5,000 applications and they can't go through all the 5,000. So they say, oh, anybody that has a GRE score of maybe 116, quantitative, maybe 115, the other part, the verbal part, those are the ones we even want to look at. And they use that as a base to just push people out, even before looking at your GPA. So that's like the first thing. So I would always advise you to take the GRE. I would always advise you to prepare as much as you can. So my own GRE story, I was working full time and I was trying to prepare for the GRE within 3 months. So my first GRE, I think my quantitative was like 156 or 157. And I knew it was good, but it was not great. So I took 2 weeks again to prepare, and I retook the GRE, and I had maybe like 163 or something in my quantitative. I was able to improve my score by close to 10 points altogether, which kind of gave me better edge. The other thing is, people just tend to apply and send all these cold emails to professors and faculties to talk to them about wanting them to sponsor you or wanting to work in their lab and stuff. You have to personalize the email as much as you can. You also have to show your abilities, like, oh, hello, professor something. I am this person from Nigeria. I have a degree in this. I'm looking to work in your lab. I read your paper, or I saw your presentation, or I did this. like you have to show the person that that person is an individual. These professors are very busy. They have to attend to classes, they have researchers working with them, they collaborate, they live very busy lives. So you don't want to just send them an email that is so cold and generic. You have to let them know that you have done your own part of the work. So in the application, your statement of purpose is very, very vital. You need to personalize your experience. Why do you want to study this? I've read statements of people where they talk about how they're trying to get out of Nigeria, or try to get out of society, or try to make a better life for themselves and things like that. The way academia works and grad school works is they're looking for people that will make a change. So whatever your life story is, whatever your experience to that point is, whatever research you are proposing to study would be one that would not just be for yourself and your brother or your friends, it will be one that would affect the world. The truth is, nobody can solve the world problem. You can only solve a little part of it. Yeah. So I think that's about that. So when it comes to like being able to get funded scholarships, being able, the opportunities out there. That's the truth. Professors are consistently looking for people that would come and do the research. They get grants and they have to spend this money. And it's not Nigeria where a professor gets money and he wants to keep part of it. No, because they have to account for the research they have done with this money. So they need people to spend this money on. And I think one of the biggest problems people have is the fear. In your mind in itself, you've already put yourself down. And grad school is hard. You meet people that will try to put you down and all that. So the first thing you have to do is have the courage that you can do it. I'm not going to lie. Since I came to the US about 3 years ago, I've met a lot of people, a lot of Nigerians that are doing awesome work. I was recently awarded this Grace Opar Students Fellowship, where I got to attend like one of the biggest conferences like in the world. It was amazing. I met so many people. It was so funny that even at the program, one of my professors from UI was there. She attended conference. I had so many people like from Nigeria that I met. There were so many awesome things. I got my internship through the Grace Upper celebration. I got to interview with a lot of awesome firms. I interviewed with Airbnb, with Facebook, like with a lot of great places. I've been exposed to a lot of great things. And I would not lie, these opportunities are out there. We just need to find a way to get our act together and take the most of it. I've seen Nigerians doing great work I met Benson through CRA URMD workshop, and he has been a wonderful friend since then. And even at CRA, I've attended 3 workshops now, as in I met so many people that have inspired me. There are Nigerians that even came to do their undergrad here. I've been exposed to the opportunities that are available to undergraduate students. And I'm even pushing to have my nieces and people make the most of these opportunities. So it's really about what information you have. It's about how much time you are willing to give into getting this information. So I think you also asked about finding schools. So I think that's where like the bulk of work is as well. So what people usually advise is you should, when you're starting out, have a plan to have like 5 high ranked schools, 5 middle ranked schools, and maybe 5 lower ranked schools. Then research about what they expect, what the admission requirements are. You should send emails to the graduate coordinators or the maybe like the program coordinators or something, ask them questions. One thing I know is 99% of them will reply your emails. It might take a bit of time, maybe like 1 to 2 weeks, but they will reply your emails. Ask them specific questions. Don't ask them questions they have on their website, because it shows that you're not doing your homework. Ask them questions about what the average acceptance rate is for the department, any specific things, advice they will give. I know they will not tell you what your chances are of being admitted. Ask them questions like, do they expect you to find a faculty advisor before you apply? Ask them questions. Even some of them would, when you establish very good relationship, they even offer application waiver sometimes. I got application waiver from Kansas State when I was going to apply, because the graduate coordinator saw that I had to retake the GRE, and he felt, you already retook the GRE, don't waste another $80 applying. So yeah, so all those things, like establishing relationship, let your name be in their mouth. You don't have to be offensive about it or overly pressurizing, but like make meaningful contact with them. So when you do that, you know what boxes you check and what boxes you don't. That way you can maybe bring it down to maybe like 2 top universities, 3 middle ranked universities, and maybe like 2 bottom ranked. And it also depends on how much money you have to apply. So you don't have to apply to 7 schools. You can apply to, I think I would advise between 4 schools and above. And let us be realistic about the application. So I was talking to somebody I met recently, and the lady was telling me about, she's doing a master's in computer science in a school in, I think, Mississippi. And she was telling me about how our friends from Nigeria kept telling her that, why didn't she apply to Harvard, this one and that one? And she said every time people ask her questions like that, it's always so funny to her. I'm not saying that you cannot get into the program, but depending on what your dreams and hopes and things are, you have to be very realistic. I've seen somebody that had a first class from OAU, had GRE score of maybe like 320 something, and the guy never got admission because he applied to Harvard and Stanford and this. The people that you're competing against, they are people that have GPAs over the minimum GPA. Like people that have maybe like a 4.5 over 4. How is that even possible? I've seen people that score 120 over 100. How do you want to grade those kind of people? Because they take extra credits, they do all those things. So you have to be very realistic about what you want. And I think another thing that is usually like a big problem to people, even after they've come, is people put so much priority and importance on how prestigious your advisor is, or how prestigious the school is, or how much money the school is willing to offer in assistantship. If you are going for a research program like a PhD, you need to go with a school that recruits you well. And you need to go with an advisor that is compassionate. Because the thing is, there are always going to be ups and downs. You might have expectation of, maybe your advisor might have this expectation of, you need to publish 4 papers. And maybe in your first 2-3 years, things are not going great. You don't want somebody that would make you feel worse than you already are. Things would always happen in life. So you want somebody that would understand your individuality and work with you as peculiar as you are. You don't want somebody that you are afraid to talk to. All of that put together, I know of people that have left top ranked school to go to other schools because their advisors are about to kill them because something is going wrong. I know of people that have dropped out of their programs because the advisor is not the greatest person. So um, you want somebody that understands you and tries to get the best out of you. As much as possible, there would always be times that you guys don't agree. Then you also want somebody that listens to you, because so some of the things that I've learned is your PhD, even though your advisor is a professor, has been a professor for maybe like 20 years, you are the expert of your own research. So you want somebody that would listen to you as well, and somebody that will help you. So something happened a couple of years back where a guy was defending his candidacy research, and it was his advisor that was actually giving him the toughest time in his presentation, to the point that people on the committee had to be like, pipe down, it's not that serious. So you don't want to put yourself in that kind of position. So all of these are the things that you look at when you are trying to apply to grad school. Yeah.
Not necessarily am I in Stanford or am I in MIT, or will I be able to get a job when I graduate from a smaller school? So I need to go to a top school where if I go to a top school, I can get any job I want in the world. It's not like that. There are things that I need to do. Wow. That's a lot of info.
I was having this argument with somebody during one of the conference we attended. I think you were there. And I was trying to point out to the guy that going to a top school only gets you a foot in the door. You still have to prove yourself to actually get inside. In life, you always compete with people that you think are better than you, or because they carry maybe they have a fancy last name or something. But every organization wants somebody that knows something, and the world is so diverse that what I have to offer would be different from what you have to offer. So it's about being convincing about what you have to offer. Yeah, I think that's like one of the most important things.
Thank you very much. So you've heard it for chemistry, for computer science. You don't need to have a master's in computer science before you apply to a PhD program. And you need your GRE, and you need your statement of purpose, and you need to follow the application requirements when applying for those schools. And you have to sift the schools. You have to apply to a top school, a middle school, and it's lower rank school, so as to have your chances spread out. Like they used to say, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Okay.
So that is the rule, and that is the idea. So thank you for that information. Thank you so much. So the next thing that I want to ask is concerning art and design. Like people in art, because we know we have people in, like I have my brother in art now. So, and I'll be so much interested because he's doing music. So I'll be so much interested in knowing about someone who is doing music, how the person can come. So I want to ask that, okay, how does it really go with people applying for graduate school, maybe our undergraduate or graduate school in art and design?
Okay. I can't really speak much for the undergrads, but for the graduate program in art and design, your portfolio is like the most important thing, because it shows the evolution of your abilities and your work and what you are interested in and your creative process. Because people in art and design, they are more about your creativity. It works a little different. It's not really the way, oh, I want to work in my advisor's research. It's about your individuality as a creative person. I also know that they usually prefer that you work, and it's always advisable that you have some work experience, because it kind of shows like that you have been able to try your hands on different things, and you know where your specialization comes in. Take maybe Department of Arts, for instance, they have specialization in maybe like ceramics, graphic design, sculpting, and maybe jewelry making, all those kind of things. I know that usually in undergrad you do a little bit of everything, but actually working would help you decide and determine what exactly you want to do, and you pick an area of specialization. Then you get like enough body of work so that you can build your portfolio. I think on the average, they always ask for maybe like 10 to 20 things that you have done as a portfolio. Some people would ask that you make a PDF and submit it as part of the application. I think some people would ask you make a video, like a video work to like show like your creative process over time. Um, then I think another thing about the arts and design is, for some places when you are submitting your application, you might not be submitting your portfolio as part of your application. You might have to submit your portfolio somewhere else. In some places, you might have to pay something extra, maybe like $5-10 for that. So you have to factor in that as part of your application cost. Some schools require like an interview, some schools don't require interviews. I think a lot of times their funding comes as a form of teaching assistantship. So most people in art and design get to teach. That's one of the reasons why they always prefer work experience, because you'll be teaching like lower level classes, like basic beginner classes. So they expect you to know something in order to teach something. So that's like how their own thing works. So it's a little different. Also, it depends on what you want. There are some art, usually is like having like a master's of fine arts, MFA. There are some programs that are 2 years programs that are cost heavy. So you take classes and things like that. And there are some that are 3-year research based, where you have a research you work on and you do a lot of independent studies. So most of the time, if you want to go into academia, they would always advise you to take the 3-year program that is research-based and things like that. And if you just want to go to grad school just to make yourself a better designer or artist, you might just end up going for the 2-year program. So you need to be very sure. So there are schools that have the 2-year and 3-year program. So you pick which one you want to apply to. Some schools are just a 3-year program. And I know a lot of times people confuse it and wonder, why would a master's degree be 3 years? So those are like peculiarities about going to art and design school. I've met a couple of people from Nigeria, from Ghana, that have been in other graduate programs like performing arts or like theater arts or all those kind of things. So for them, I think their portfolio and presentations might be different. So you need to know what is expected. The portfolios come in, they have specific instructions. So I think one of the biggest problems, regardless of what departments you're applying to or what program you're applying to, understanding what the requirement is very important. If there's any question or there's something that you need clarity with, it's always better for you to send an email, inquire, just clarify so that you don't make any silly mistakes. There have been people that are so smart but they didn't get what they wanted because they didn't do the right thing. So the way it works here in the US is a little different from how it works in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we tend to keep quiet and just make assumptions. Here, they don't like assumptions. They want you to do exactly what they expect when it comes to things like that, because they might have maybe like a software that is scanning through applications, and once you don't meet that, it kicks out your application. So you don't want to make some mistakes. If something is required, do it on time. And I think I know that one of the other things that is always a problem with people is recommendation letter. Pick somebody that will say good things about you, not just to your abilities as an individual, but to your abilities as a student. So if you have work experience, I would advise that you get one professional recommendation along with like two academic recommendations. My supervisor from UI, my master's degree supervisor from UI, was one of my mentors and people that pushed me into applying. I was really, really second guessing myself. I believed I was not going to be able to apply, do the GRE and everything. And it was like, the people that are doing this thing don't have two heads. Please just push yourself and make it work. And he also advised that if you have maybe like an additional degree, like a master's degree, it's always good to have at least one recommender from each higher institution that you have gone to. So it will make sense for you to have somebody from your bachelor's and at least one person from your master's degree. If you have a master's degree, people would always advise that it's good for you to have your supervisor or your advisor as a recommender. It speaks into your relationship with people. So my other advice is, most schools will ask for 3 recommendations. It's better for you to have 4 to 5 people that would write recommendations for you, because we all know how it works in Nigeria. If you tell one professor to send recommendation to 7 places, the person might not end up sending it. So you want to do like a very good mix and match. Yeah, so that at least you have at least one person sending recommendation to like 3 places, like, and it's good for you that when you start your application, I know most applications open in August, when you start your application and maybe the deadline is in October, you make sure you send the recommendation parts to them early and start following up. Because there will always be excuses like, I've heard so many, my internet is bad. I went for a conference, it got lost in my email, all those kind of things. If they don't send your recommendation in as soon as possible, go and send them do a resend and a reminder. Recommendation is a big problem. If the person is being hesitant, ask if you should draft like a structure for the person. Yeah. So I know somebody asked me, then the person was like, I hope it's not all those recommendations that I will be feeling. Hope it's just for me to write a letter. So you have to understand like what the person can do and make sure that you pick the right person for that. And maybe if you find out that your application deadline is coming close and there's a particular person that is not, kick the person off your application and put somebody else in. It's not about hurting their feelings, it's about you. There are people that are being considered, but they never got the recommendation they needed. And like all those things, all those things speak. And in this kind of society, they take recommendations and things like that very seriously. Yeah. They take it very seriously. They believe that if you cannot find somebody to attest to your abilities as a person, then your abilities need to be checked. So those are like small parts of the application that can affect the whole thing. It's not only about having a 4.9 over 5. Then there are also resources out there that can help you have an idea of what your GPA is like. I know West has this, I think, transcript converter thing. So you can put in your grades based on the country or the school or the grading system, just put in your grades from your transcript and to give you an estimate of what your GPA is over 4.0. So sometimes so I know somebody that had a 2.2 and the person's GPA was like 3.3 in Nigeria grade. And when we put the person's grade there, his grade was converted to like a 3.1 over 4 based on the credit of the courses. It's not, so people do this 3.3 over 5 times 4, that thing. No, that's not how it works. Some schools will tell you they will consider your GPA in the last 2 years. Some people will tell you they will consider the entire GPA. So if you know that you have very strong strength in your last 2 years, maybe you had like a lot of A's in your last 2 years of school, you can push for schools that want very strong GPAs in your last 2 years. If schools are just going to look at your grades in the entirety of it, you understand. So it's not, there's no one-stop shop. It's not a one size fits all. So there are peculiar things, all those kind of things are. So what I did was I had a spreadsheet of GPA requirements, number of recommenders needed, the application fee, the application deadline, the communication I had, GRE requirements, all those things. So I had a spreadsheet like that I color coded. So if I maybe have recommenders, maybe I'll put the name of the recommenders there, and I get an email that my recommender has submitted, I mark that and check it. So every time I check the spreadsheet, I have an overview of what is left for me to do in a particular school. Then it also helps you refine what you want. That, okay, if I have 10 schools here and I know that I cannot meet this deadline, I kick that school off or move it to the bottom. Or if there's another school that the deadline is still far ahead, you understand what I'm saying? So it's better for you to be organized about it. It's not something that you just do and when I remember. No, you have to have like a system, a filing system that works, and you are able to keep track of where you are at every point in time. So I would advise that anybody that wants to go to grad school, that wants to apply in the next window, should start preparing for GRE right now, start putting their decisions together. What schools do I want to look at? All those things, because it takes time. The first draft of your statement of purpose is not the best. You would have drafts 1 to maybe like 6 or 7, have different people read it for you. The funny thing is, so when I did my statement of purpose and I felt, oh, this was great, I have 2 friends. One was from my undergrad, is a writer. The other person was from my secondary school. The person is also a writer. So I sent my statement of purpose to them. I was like, what do you think about it? And the person was like, oh, this is a beautiful story, but why not change this? Those people know nothing about computer science. But I just wanted another like view to it. There are people that they've never gone to grad school before, but like I just wanted a more objective opinion, like what sense can they make from it. So if you have opportunities like that, let somebody else proofread. There was an advice my supervisor from UI gave me. I know sitting down and writing statement of purpose can be very frustrating because you don't know where to start. So when I was talking to him about it, he gave me this advice. He said I should research online and find out the things that you should have in your statement of purpose. And it applies to everybody, graduate, undergrad, or anything. Research like 10 to 15 questions that people would generally ask. So pick up your phone and start speaking. Don't care about what you're saying, if it's the right thing or not. So question 1, this and that, this is the question. Like, oh, maybe question 1 is, what experiences informed your decision to pursue this degree? So you start recording and you start speaking about it. Speak as much as you can remember. So for each question, you do that. After that, you take a computer and transcribe it, type those things out. You would realize that by the time you finish typing out, you would have like 3 to 4 pages. Now you can marry those things together and put it together and channel it like a story. That way, you have 2 pages of statement of purpose that is personal to you, that addresses everything they want to know, that is very well informed. If you just sit down and you want to start typing, it might be very hard. But these are the things that you have said to yourself. This is what I want to say to myself. And you put that down. It's very, very good. It works. My friends from art and design, they've tried it. It works great. People from social sciences have tried it. It works great. So sometimes I use that when I'm trying to write my research paper, and I find out that I'm deadlocked. I just say, what am I trying to say in this paragraph? And I record it and I transcribe it. And I change things around. You realize that you already have a very detailed thing, because a lot of times it's easier for you to talk about something than to write about it. So if you talk about it and you transcribe what you have said, then it's a very, very, very valuable thing that I'm so grateful for. Yeah, so I think that too would help.
Wow. That's a lot. I myself have picked one or two things out of there, and I think I'm going to start employing that also in my paper writing also, because each time I sit down, just blank for them, like, what am I going to write? But I notice I can say, if I'm to come talk about my research, it's very
Yeah.
easy for me to talk about it than writing. I'm like, okay, I think I'll start recording also. So you've heard it all. So today we've given you two in one, which is about uh, computer science and about art and design. And you've heard it all from our guests, and you've heard it of just be passionate about what you want, know what you want, prepare ahead. The next window for application process for US is August, and it's going to be opening very soon. So start preparing for your recommendations, start informing them now. Go to talk to them if you need to travel. Some you will need to travel to see them face to face. Just make sure that these people are ready to write a recommendation for you. Once they write one, it's very easy to write the other. It's just
Yeah.
to edit the name of the school. Your name still remains the same, and what they want to write is the same. So try to talk to them ahead of time before the deadline of your application. So that is be all for today. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe. Click on the subscription button. It is free of charge. No money is going to be taken from you. No money is going to be deducted from your account. Just please subscribe. And we want to appreciate our guest today. Thank you so much for your time. I know I cannot pay you for the time, so I really appreciate you for the audience and everything. Thank you so much. And that will be all for today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.